again. It's Larry Steinhouse, and this is the Larry Steinhouse Show. Wow, this is an awesome day. I'm going to have so much fun today. I'm just going on and on and on and on and on. I'm wondering if my voice is going to hang out, is going to stay around for the entire day. I'm going to find out. All I know is I've got coffee in front of me, which is a good thing because now I can take my coffee and I can keep myself awake. By the way, I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning this morning just to make sure that I was here, so everything worked. Yesterday we did some tests and some things didn't work, and I was panicked that it wasn't going to work. But luckily for me, I've got a CPA in my studio. I guess it's always lucky for me to have a CPA in my studio, but I was kind of off the topic, which was. So real quick, I want to introduce you guys to Andrew Kabatchnick. And Andrew is, I'm going to say, a young CPA, right?
I'm about 35.
You're about 35? Okay, cool. And you've been doing this for about 15 years now. You've been pretty popular because I've been following you on Facebook. You're doing you went on Fox, is that right? On Fox News, is that right?
Yeah, well, I was on Good Day New York right before Christmas, actually. I post a lot on Facebook. I'm trying to be active. It helps me get the word out there about what I do. And one of the producers of the show saw one of my posts. And they said, do you want to come on tomorrow? This was right before Christmas. And I said, I thought they were kidding. I thought it was a joke. And I said, yeah. And they called me. And I went on the next morning to discuss. Then it's still early, and we're still learning things about the tax plan, really. But it was kind of a little appetizer of what we thought was coming for the new tax law.
So I'm a big advocate of paying taxes.
I don't know why.
No, I'm a big advocate of paying taxes. I'm a big advocate of paying the least amount of taxes I can possibly pay.
And that's what
I couldn't resist.
That's what any good CPA should be helping you do, really. Yeah, you have to pay your taxes. You have to file your taxes. People don't like paying a ton of money, but it's something you have to do. But we're here to sort of reduce what you'll owe based on the way the laws are written and this year rewritten. Yeah,
right. Exactly. Definitely rewritten. It's funny. I did my taxes recently, and my accountant. You're not my accountant, but it may be something we could discuss in the future. But my accountant was showing me, and he actually was able to click a button.
Yep.
On the two screens. He was able to click 2017 and 2018. All he did was put one button, and the difference in taxes to me was $9,000.
Yeah,
it was amazing to me.
A lot of people. Listen, we're not talking here, like we said already, whether you like Trump, hate Trump, whatever, that doesn't matter. Here, with the new tax law, from a tax perspective, most people will be saving money. And you're going to come back to me and say, well, what about the real estate tax cap? What about this, that, and the other thing? Most people overall, when it's all said and done, will save a little bit of money.
You know what I find funny about the real estate cap tax thing? I don't want to say Democrats. I'm trying not to make this political, but let's just say people say, oh, well, the rich should pay more taxes. Well, the tax cap, the real estate tax cap idea is basically the fact that rich people will be paying more taxes. $750,000, I think the mortgage goes down to. Or
yeah, so that's one of the things that changed this year on your principal residence. The cap used to be $1 million of
so your mortgage had to be $1 million, and you could only cap the $1 million with interest, right?
Yeah, so
right.
The mortgage didn't have to be under $1 million, but if it was over $1 million, you'd be reducing the amount you could actually deduct on your tax.
Reducing, not
eliminating.
Not eliminating, which
Correct.
Another thing people always get wrong.
Yeah.
So even if it goes to $750,000, it's not eliminating it; it's just reducing it.
And this is for new mortgages.
Right, it's for new mortgages. The other thing, right? Which also makes me laugh that people didn't get that they think it's going to affect their prime
if you
mortgages.
if you buy a new home or refinance. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking about refinancing, you should have done it already.
Oh, so I didn't know it affected refinancing too, but that's also interesting.
Yep.
But again, it's taxing rich people. It's exactly what I'm going to say it anyway. It's exactly what the Democrats wanted. They wanted to tax the rich people. Because if you're an average person, you don't have a $750,000 mortgage. I don't have a $750,000 mortgage on anything I own.
No,
so I know.
Don't.
Yeah. So even my own house that I'm living in now. Obviously, that's the one we're talking about because investment properties are taxed totally differently. Correct?
Oh yeah. If you own a business, any kind of business, and in this specific case, real estate investing, your interest is fully deductible. Your taxes are fully deductible. That it's only being capped on your personal residences, and also the line of credit home equity loan interest not deductible anymore.
Yeah, which of course I don't like that either. But
Nope.
But you can deduct it. I understand if you're using that money to buy investment property. Is that correct?
If you're using it in businesses, you'll deduct the interest.
Okay.
But
yeah.
On your personal return, it would not be deducted anymore.
Right. So, and also what I do is I actually have an equity loan on a property that's an investment property.
You're deducting it.
I'm deducting it. Yeah. So and it's funny. I find this. I always find this interesting that people don't understand that. And I hate to classify people as rich people versus poor people, but rich people understand how to save money and how to change their life.
Well, I don't know if they always understand, but usually they do. But they have a team of people that understand.
Correct.
That's the thing. So people, our average everyday people who are working, maybe not investing, maybe they have a job and they're working 9 to 5, which, by the way, we're always talking is not the way to get ahead in life. But you got to work and you have to pay the bills, right? They don't have a team of people, but they don't realize if they turn to me, most of those people are only going to be paying me a few $100 for a little bit of advice and doing their tax return.
Oh, come on. I can go to H&R Block and give them $250 to do my taxes.
Yeah, enjoy. Good luck. The thing with H&R Block's a good company. You can't knock them too much, right? But the thing is, my fees are competitive with H&R Block, and the people doing your taxes there, not always, but often, are not trained accountants. They're not trained accountants.
Right.
They're people coming in. They might be students, accounting students, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them are just people there making extra money during tax season that are not trained accountants. I'm a trained accountant, and most of my fees will be somewhat competitive with theirs.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to just knock H&R Block, and I'm not. I was trying to be a little bit funny. Was really what I was trying to do. And you're absolutely right. Look, there are people who look. The 1040 EZ form was created just so people would at least file, because they got so overwhelmed by not filing that they created the 1040 EZ form. I don't think anyone in their right mind should ever file a 1040 EZ, but it just means that you at least you're filing, at least maybe you're getting your refund.
Yep.
And it's funny. I teach people to not get a big refund. This is something that most people don't even get. I'm going to tell you, anybody who's listening, this is my philosophy on this is if you're working for someone and you're getting a W-2 income, and at the end of the year you get $3,000 or $4,000 back, you made a big mistake. In fact, my goal, well, it used to be, I obviously don't work for anybody anymore. I only work for myself. But my goal used to be that I owed them $100.
Yeah. If you're in the vicinity where you're owing or getting back $1,000 or less, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
If you're getting back, people are always like, "Oh, I want a huge refund." If you're getting back 3, 4, 5, 10K, you messed up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And imagine, if somebody's getting back $3,600, that's $300 a month they could put back in their pocket every month. And I'm not going to suggest you buy a car with it, but imagine you're struggling to pay your mortgage or your rent every month, and you can use an extra $300. That's where you find it. It's so easy to find it.
Yeah, and even so, okay, so maybe you don't keep the whole $300 every month. Maybe you're keeping $200 of it. And even so, that helps you pay your rent. That helps you get the groceries.
Right, and what a lot of people do is they'll use their credit cards to pay the groceries, or they'll use their credit cards to help. They'll do cash advances to pay their rent. How stupid is that? You're paying 20% interest on that credit card when the government's giving you no money at all, interest on your money, and then you get it back and pay the credit card off.
And if you're doing stuff like that, that's another issue where you're probably living above your means to begin with. If you have to do that. But
So what is your philosophy on how people should live financially?
Honestly, people need to realize that they need to live within their means, right? You need to be putting money away, saving money, You need to have an emergency fund if something happens where you lose your job or you have a big repair on your home. And if you have to turn to a credit card for that, you're doing it wrong. It's a big problem these days with people trying to keep up with their neighbors when they don't realize that either their neighbors are making a ton of money, much more than they are, or they're going into a huge amount of debt to get what they had. So you're keeping up with debt to beat more debt. It's
absolutely true, and my neighbors hate me because I pull up my Corvette and I pull up my Mercedes SL 550, and they're wondering what drugs I sell. No, they
let me know.
But what they're really concerned with is is why I actually had my neighbor look to me that he goes, why don't you live on the Hamptons? And I'm like, and I'm thinking, and I know the answer. The answer was, I don't want to live above my means.
Yep.
That's actually a two-part answer. One is also because, my family is right around the corner, and I didn't want to leave from them either. But yeah, could I have bought a bigger house? Absolutely, but I don't want to. In fact, it's funny that when my wife and I just bought the house that we just bought, whenever I buy any investment property, and remember that, your primary residence is considered not an investment property. Right. But I went into it with the same philosophy as my investment properties. What happens if? So my mortgage is a certain amount, and I believe that I could rent my house for about $600 more than my mortgage. So if I ever couldn't work or needed to do something, my exit plan is rent it. It's as simple as that. It becomes just another rental property, and I can move into one of my lower rental properties and not ever have to worry. In fact, that's one of the big things I like about real estate. I'm hoping you're an advocate of real estate. I never asked you, but that's one of the big things I like about real estate is the fact that real estate always goes up, but if nothing else, there's always a good exit plan.
You always have options.
Yeah, you're exact. Oh, I like options too, by the way.
I heard about that. We have to discuss that too.
Okay, great. So, go ahead, sure.
But the thing is, right, a lot of savvy real estate investors, right, realize that they're living in one of their investment properties. They have a multifamily home, a 2, 3, 4 family home. They have somebody paying rent, which covers a lot of the expenses, and they're living in the other part free, basically. Why not?
That's absolutely true, and that is a great way to buy a house. In fact, FHA mortgages. A lot of people don't know this, and if you're watching this is a brilliant move. And I tell this for young investors. I tell them to do this all the time. You can get an FHA mortgage with 3.5% down out of your pocket with a credit score of 580. Think about that. A credit score of 580, 3.5% out of your pocket down, and you could buy up to a 4-family house, an FHA mortgage. It's just phenomenal. So you could buy a 4-family house, have people live in 3 of the units, pay 100% of the mortgage or more, and live practically for free or for free.
Even if you're living in 2 of the units and rent out 2 of the units, you could probably have most of your expenses covered. In most areas.
Right. I mean, it could be a 2-family or a 3-family or a 4-family. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
So
people just you need to sit down and look at yourself and say, what can I do? What can I comfortably afford? How can I save money? And how can I break free of needing to live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck?
That's actually, I say that's a mindset. You either decide you're doing it or you decide you're not doing it. Now everybody out there is going, boo. I'll even play the boo. I'll even play the boo for the people who are saying it. Okay? So and here's the difference, okay? You either decide you're going to be in this mindset of living paycheck to paycheck, or you decide you're not going to be. And I've trained people or taught people over and over again to do 2 things with their money. Number one, and it's funny because it's not a philosophy that I created. The first one is put 10% of your paycheck away. If you're not already living the good life or the good financial life, put 10% of your paycheck away and pay no more than 20% toward your debt. So I always get resistance here. Well, what if my debts payments are more than 20%? Well, if that happened, then the first thing you need to do is reevaluate whether you should be in that debt or not. Because guess what? There are options to get out. Now, I don't know if you know my story. I went bankrupt 10 years ago.
Huh.
Now, I went bankrupt because I made a major mistake. I believed that in 2006 and 2007 the real estate market would never stop going up. Which is,
a lot of people believe that.
Yeah, which was a major mistake. And I changed my philosophy, and I changed all the rules in which I bought real estate, and sure enough, it exploded in my face. But at the same time, I also walked out of that, and I know, again, I'm going off on a tangent, but I also walked out of that and had a plan to rebuild my life financially, and as you probably can have already guessed, it's worked. I'm I wrote a book on it. Actually, that led to all of this, by the way. So I had a couple of things real quick. So Ron Loftus, a while back, and I know we were talking about this before, I guess he's talking about Democrats. Ask them what percentage of taxes a rich person should pay. They can never answer you other than more, which I always find that very funny because it's really funny. And again, I don't want to get into that whole conversation. Also, Michael DeCana, you must know him.
Yep.
He says, "My man Andrew," so he's shouting out to you.
Mike's a good, solid mortgage guy who you should consider speaking to if you're refinancing or looking to buy a new home there.
Well, that's pretty cool. Actually, Javier says he's refinancing his house now to get his broker friend off the deed. I don't know what the story is with that. Okay, but man, I hated having to deal with the taxes. I'm glad I get so basically he was finding it interesting, some of the things that we were saying. It sounds like I can't quite understand what he was trying to say there. But yeah, if you guys want to leave comments out there, please leave comments. We love it when you leave comments because we can answer your questions. We can have a dialogue back and forth.
Yeah, and if anybody has any comments or questions about what I'm saying today, I believe I'll be tagged on Facebook. Find me, ask me questions,
Sure.
Find out what I'm talking about. Find out what our philosophy is. I feel like Larry and I share a little bit of our philosophy there. And it really, if you're living in debt and paycheck to paycheck, it's certainly at least partially a mindset, right? My dad was in his own business. My grandfathers were in their own business. Lots of other people in my family were in their own businesses. I knew when I was young, first of all, I knew when I was in high school that I was going to be an accountant. Which is why I'm only 35 and I've been in accounting for 15 years. I had an internship in high school. I took a class in high school and I knew I was going to be an accountant. And that's when I knew that was what my business was going to be. But I probably knew I was going to have my own business, and I knew a lot about the stock market when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old.
So I find that fascinating. We've been talking about that all morning to a bunch of different coaches. The mindset, is like when you decide you're going to do something, you decide you're going to do something. But I'm actually curious about something. You said that since you were in high school, it was high school that you said you were going to be an accountant?
Yeah, I took an intro to accounting class. I think it was my sophomore year of high school, and I just jumped in and it clicked. I don't know. I mean, call me a nerd. It's true.
Okay, you're a nerd.
But that's when I knew back then that I was going to be in business and accounting, and doing that. I mean, and I enjoy helping my clients, and luckily I got my license. I think it was about 6 years ago.
Awesome.
And it was from I was working at firms, Deloitte being one of them, and other smaller firms. And since I got my license, I get a client here, a client there, 1, 2, 2, 1, whatever. And all of a sudden, it started to turn from that into it would be more. And then all of a sudden, I'm having people now call me in June, July. Who needs an accountant in June and July? But people are calling me. And
I need an accountant in June and July.
I mean, people need it, but they don't think about it. Most of my clients are coming in February, March, April when they realize they need to get their taxes done.
Right, exactly. Right. And my guess is most accountants like yourself, most accountants probably are doing just the February taxes thing, and that's I'm sorry, not April taxes thing, and that's just the way it is. But all year long, I'm trying to figure out. I'm calling people and trying to figure out what I should do to move money, to do different things to make my tax situation better. So let's talk real quick about about you, how people can get a hold of you, what you can do for them.
So as far as what I could do for people, I'm here to be your sort of full financial advocate throughout the whole year. Is it true that I hear from most of my clients only in February, March, whenever it is? Yeah, but I'm sitting there bugging most of my clients the full year, and they just don't want to be bothered with me most of the year, which I can't blame them. But this is part of the mindset. You have to be not necessarily worried, but partially focused on your finances all year. There's no there's no magic wand I come up with in March to save you a ton of money on your taxes.
Right.
Yeah, I know the rules and laws, but it helps a lot if we're talking throughout the year instead of you calling me up in March and say, "Oh, I hate what I have to pay."
Yeah, so I find it interesting that the number that I usually pay is more money than most people make a year, which is great.
Yeah.
In one way.
Well, that's
and
the problem
so
you want to
great.
have.
And that's so great, and not
Yeah.
so great, exactly,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
great. I actually have a goal, so I'm putting it out there. My goal is to pay $500,000 in taxes a year
On the federal level.
on the federal level. Yeah, I don't want to pay anything to the state. No, I'm only kidding, but no, I know exactly. Yeah, and that's my goal is to pay $500,000 in taxes a year. I'm not near there. I'm not close enough to my goal to.
But it takes time.
Yeah, it does take time.
It doesn't happen. That's another thing people don't realize is true entrepreneurs realize that they don't want to fail, but failing is part of the story. It happens.
Well, I'm not going to fail again.
Failing.
I've already failed, and I'm not doing it again.
Well, you had your fail, and now you're back on track.
That's right.
And you're growing.
Absolutely.
Might you have minimal bumps in the road here and there? Maybe, maybe not. But most entrepreneurs have a fail in their life and grow from there. And that's another part of the mindset where most people are nervous to do that. Oh, what if I fail? Yeah, get back up and get going.
See, it's funny. I tell people all the time, and this is the truth. The statistics will show this, that most people at age 65 have $162,000 to their name. Now, that's most people. So when people have less,
Yep.
so if they have $162,000 left to their name, and they live 10 more years,
Yep.
what are they going to live on? $16,000 a year?
Plus a little bit of Social Security and
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So what I tell people, look, if and honestly, I say it jokingly, but it's almost true. If you have $162,000 a year, you're better off going to a casino, putting the $162,000 on the roulette table on 13 black, and if you win, you did it. If you didn't, you might as well give up the $162,000 because you gave up the idea. You won't even be able to get some benefits. There are some benefits the government will give you that they won't give you because you have the $162,000, and you're better off living with those benefits than you are living with the $162,000.
It's probably true.
I've done. Like, I haven't proved it, but it's pretty close to true.
Yep.
It's crazy stuff like food stamps and other things.
Yeah.
So
Now, as far as getting in touch with me, I'm tagged on Facebook. Mm-hmm. My website is andrew-cpa.com.
Oh, I might be able to call that up. Well, keep going while I look for
we
it.
need to build up my website. It's not the best yet, but we're getting there. My phone number is 973-879-9111. I split most of my time between New York and New Jersey, but I have clients in a ton of different states.
What about Pennsylvania? Because we have a lot of people.
I have a good handful of clients in Pennsylvania. And then from there, it dwindles a little bit. Like I have a few California clients, a few Massachusetts clients, and Florida, Texas. But most of my clients are between Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and the states in between there.
Very cool. So, by the way, I want to let you know, Hone is a friend of mine. Hone Tai, he's actually a client of ours too. He actually says that he likes your enthusiasm for the topic. Now, if Hone says he likes somebody's enthusiastic for a topic such as accounting, that's a really big compliment. And I got to be honest with you, because I look at this and go, "Oh, I'm interviewing a CPA. This has got to be boring." But it was not. In fact, unfortunately, we're out of time, and I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, it goes pretty quick, doesn't it?
So the thing is, I know we didn't talk too many tax strategies, but they're out there.
Right, sure.
The tax strategies are there if you just put in the time to call me and sit down with me and realize that my fee, like anything else you do, is an investment in your future of having more money to do more things.
All right, so we got 30 seconds. What's the best tax strategy somebody can do right now?
Okay, if you're in real estate investing, look into cost segregation, look into paying your children, look into making sure you're taking the right depreciation, look into 1031 exchanges, and if you're not in real estate, just think about saving money, putting money away, and investing in your future and breaking out of the mindset of the 9 to 5 and I can't fail.
All right, cool, Andrew. We're going to have you back for other stuff.
I hope
we
so.
may even have you back to investor schooling because I think what you just said, a couple of things that you just said, I really want to learn about. But we're out of time, so we're going to say goodbye, and we're going to move on to the next person at Coach-a-thon in about 5 minutes.